All right, it's time to take a look at the leader for the NFL MVP award, and that is Brock Purdy. Number one across all advanced efficiency metrics. The story is nothing short of sensational, and one of his, maybe, probably, let's just go ahead and call a spade a spade. Brock Purdy's top feather in the cap so far this season came in Philadelphia, where he turned the 49ers around after a quarter, orchestrated an amazing offensive performance, 6 consecutive touchdowns for the 49ers, the first time it's been done in the NFL since the Ravens did it in 2019. Remember, the first 2 drives for the 49ers were 3 and outs because they couldn't get anything done on first down. That put them into bad positions on second and third down. And actually, the third drive started poorly as well. Christian McCaffrey pitch right. Philadelphia was swarming at this point of the game. The 49ers are desperate to get out ahead of the chains so they can hit some offensive rhythm. So what do they do on second down? They commit a penalty, a false start. So McCaffrey, he didn't gain anything. It was a loss of 1 for Christian McCaffrey. And then the penalty is going to move the 49ers back 5 more yards. Spencer Burford moved there on the right side, 74, the right guard. Sets up 2nd and 16. So keep in mind that the 49ers, who really struggled on the first 2 drives to get out of the shadow of their own goalpost, they're just moving backwards, also struggled on drive number 3. But this right here is the throw that turned around the entire performance. The out pattern to Brandon Ayuk helped the 49ers a couple times in this game. And Purdy, everything was going poorly at this point. He stood and he delivered. And from this point on, and especially after this next play, it was still third down, third and about 3. This is an impressive play because it's off schedule. Purdy found George Kittle. From this point on, the 49ers were playing downhill against Philadelphia. Watch this. Kittle is at soonest read number 3 here. You're going to look at Purdy. Wanted to go right, couldn't go right, and now you have Jalen Carter and Brandon Graham both crashing the pocket. So Purdy doesn't want to panic, but he also needs to buy a little bit more time to find somebody that's open. So he spins around and looks left. He allows his offensive line to recover by not just bolting out of the pocket and goading a holding penalty. He stays in that pocket. He looks back the other way, shuffles his feet. That's teach tape kind of stuff. Finds George Kittle late in the progression. That's a clutch play. That was the 49ers' first chain mover of the game, first down conversion of the game. And all of a sudden, you can see how much easier this gets. It was like they were trying to climb up Lombard Street. Now they're sliding down Lombard Street. First down, first productive first down of the game. Brandon Ayuk with a little bit of a cushion on the far side. The 49ers will take that anytime. So many of Purdy's responsibilities are identifying pre-snap where he's going to go with the football. A lot of his work is happening before he even throws the football. That's one of the things that he's so good at. And there he identifies correctly. First read, Brandon Ayuk. Kyle Shanahan in a perfect world would like the quarterback to go to his first read. But if the first read is covered, he doesn't want the QB to force it. But Purdy, by pulling the strings correctly at the line of scrimmage, can help realize Kyle Shanahan's vision. I believe that was a gain of about 9 for Brandon Ayuk. And this pitch back to Christian McCaffrey does not pick up the first down for San Francisco. So everybody's like, why didn't they just run the McCaffrey early on? Well, sometimes you have to pass to set up the run. As you can tell, Philadelphia has swarmed every single run attempt so far. So the 49ers have to pick up this third down through the air. And Purdy, again, is trusted by his coach, Kyle Shanahan. He's going to go underneath to Deebo Samuel. Threatens the quarterback sneak. You can see the linebacker inch toward the line as Purdy moves from the gun to under center. But the 49ers are happy to throw out of that under center formation. The crosser is Deebo Samuel. I paused it here. You're seeing Samuel on the bottom right. Purdy, good job by the offensive line in a straight drop situation, especially Colton McKivitz working against Hassan Reddick. They create enough of a pocket for Purdy to go underneath to Deebo Samuel. That's composure on third down. That's a good example of the 49ers offensive line stepping up as they did against the good Philadelphia pass rush. Philadelphia's strength is its defensive line. The 49ers do not have a lot of respect for their back seven. The linebackers and the defensive backs not nearly as good. Purdy changed the play at the line of scrimmage. Looked like a good decision. Christian McCaffrey, first down run, 10 yards. How do you know the 49ers changed the play? Well, look at him gesture toward his helmet right there. Juszczyk, McCaffrey, Kittle, they all see it. Play has changed. Kittle has motioned. Lead blocker Kyle Juszczyk knocks out Josh Sweat, and Christian McCaffrey has room. Running to the left, I'm going to rewind this, is a cheat code for the 49ers. We're going to pause this right at the point of attack. Trent Williams, this is a reach block. He's got to get to the second level. He's going to hit Nick Morrow, the linebacker. He got to the second level. Aaron Banks, he's on the defensive tackle. On the left side, you have Kyle Juszczyk taking out Josh Sweat, which is not an easy matchup. That is a fullback against 94 defensive end who's much heavier than him. This is why the 49ers are so good running left, because look at Williams. Occupy the much lighter, nimbler Morrow. Well, Williams might be nimbler, even though he's much larger. That's what makes Williams so good. And Christian McCaffrey will find any daylight that there is. So Purdy checked into that run play at the line of scrimmage. There was a look that he liked. He checked into it. He played to his advantage on the left side of the line. That also is credit to a quarterback who's executing the position as it should be executed. This is where the 49ers start taking advantage of Philadelphia's over-aggressiveness. George Kittle in wide open spaces. So remember last season, Hassan Reddick, we're going to pause it right here, right above my head. Hassan Reddick, number 7, he injured Brock Purdy by coming hard off of that edge. The 49ers sent Tyler Kroft out to block him, the tight end. Reddick got around Kroft to Purdy, who had Brandon Ayuk open, but he couldn't get rid of the ball in time. So the 49ers, and that was on a play action. So Hassan Reddick didn't honor the play fake at all. So the 49ers know very well that Hassan Reddick is the type of player that's going to rush with reckless abandon. And on this play, they wanted to make him pay for it. So what do? Well, watch George Kittle come in motion. Here's the first part of the ruse for the 49ers. Kittle, just like Tyler Kroft last season, the tight end, is going to engage Hassan Reddick with a block, except Kittle is not engaging him with a straight drop pass block. He's going to engage him with a chip right here. There's the chip. George Kittle is going to release from the chip into a screen. The 49ers send an extra offensive lineman to engage Reddick after George Kittle releases from the chip to fool the Eagles into thinking this is a straight drop pass play and not a screen, because normally on a screen, the linemen are going to start bolting downfield. So Reddick is still going with reckless abandon toward the quarterback, and it's pitch and catch. You can see Reddick right now. He realizes that he made a bad decision. It's pitch and catch to George Kittle, who is wide open. I mean, he is alone in the frame. Again, you shouldn't be this open in the NFL, but the Eagles were way too aggressive, and the 49ers burned them with it. So again, we could watch the play design from here. Kittle in motion. Banks pulls to help Kittle after Kittle releases on the chip. And just the action of Banks being there makes Reddick think this is still a straight pass rushing situation, but it's not. George Kittle splitting open on the screen off of the chip. Big gain for the 49ers. They're rumbling back from trailing 6-0. Beautiful football. Well executed by the 49ers offense, but Kyle Shanahan came into this game with a plan to expose Philadelphia for what they did to expose the 49ers last year. Turned the tables on the Eagles. Here we get a look at some of Brock Purdy's elite burst, and it really is elite. We talk so much about him having essentially the same 10-yard split time as Lamar Jackson, and it seems to always shock defenses. This is a shotgun drop. The pocket is collapsing. Why? Well, because the 49ers lose at right tackle. As you can see, there's a roar around right tackle from Reddick. So Brock Purdy has to escape. And Brock Purdy surprises one of the back 7 from Philadelphia with a little bit extra speed to the sideline. 49ers probably don't want him taking that kind of hit at the end, but this is worth watching again. McKivitz loses. Purdy gets away. Purdy gets away again, kind of like Steve Young against the Vikings, and then Purdy gets blasted out of bounds. So that's how that play ends, but it still picks up yardage, and it's still a good exhibition of how Brock Purdy has a 10-yard burst that is enviable, that allows him to play this position at such a high level. Brings a dimension the 49ers haven't had at quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't have it. Even Trey Lance didn't have the type of burst that Brock Purdy has. Philadelphia read that play. Good job from Purdy just to get rid of the football in a non-interceptable kind of way. Sets up empty backfield for the 49ers. They split McCaffrey into the slot. Purdy looks downfield, overshoots his man. There really was not all too much there with George Kittle in the back of the end zone. So the 49ers are going to have to wait for third down in Philadelphia. Straight pass situation, a lot of trust in Brock Purdy, and it's a good idea to sail that one through the back of the end zone with nobody covered. So here comes the money play. Remember, the 49ers are still down 6-0. They have to find a way to make this work. RPO, fake, Ayuk, back of the end zone. Very well executed. This was a drive that had a lot of pressure on it. 185 yards after the 49ers had been unable to do anything over their first two drives, and they delivered. Let's look at the fake. Look at everybody flowing with Deebo Samuel. All of the Eagles moving in one direction. All the way back to Kevin Byard, the safety at the bottom of the screen, right above the word "the." So the fake works to perfection, but the 49ers are already slipping out toward the other side. Jawan Jennings underneath. George Kittle changing directions. Philadelphia is changing directions right about now, but the 49ers are a step ahead. You flow one way, and then you strike the other. Touchdown, Brandon Ayuk. That's called exposing a back end that isn't very good, and Philadelphia doesn't have a very good back end. So what Brock Purdy did is execute what Kyle Shanahan drew up. That's the job of any quarterback in the NFL. You have to take the play calls and you have to put them into action. And it's a lot easier said than done, especially when you're coming back to the spot where Hassan Reddick was roaring around the edge to tear up your elbow just a few months prior. Brock Purdy executed very, very admirably in his return to Philadelphia. So we can go now to the 49ers drive coming off of the Dre Greenlaw ejection. Sack of Brock Purdy from Fletcher Cox started this drive. This is after the tush push had brought Philadelphia within 8. So this stadium is roaring. The 49ers need an answer. 4-man Philadelphia pass rush gets the 49ers. Fletcher Cox lined, it's a defensive tackle lined up against Colton McKivitz and beat the 49ers right tackle. Good explosion there from Fletcher Cox, not letting Purdy escape out of the gap. So the 49ers try to pick up some yardage, salvage a little bit of it. They give it to Christian McCaffrey, as I was talking about earlier. Running left seems to be the get-out-of-jail-free card for the 49ers, and they do get some yardage here. Although I don't think this play went for as far as they had designed it to go. Trent Williams is further downfield, and the Eagles are able to crash it with their linebacker level. That sets up what might have been the biggest play of the game. Watch here. 3rd down and 7. Purdy had McCaffrey underneath. Nope. He's going to make the big boy throw. Deep out, outside the numbers, 1st down to Brandon Ayuk. In just 2 plays, you're going to see why this conversion was so big. But remember, the Eagles, they're roaring right now. They're trying to make a comeback. And Brock Purdy, ice in his veins, makes the throw across the hashes to the sideline for the 1st down. I'm rewinding this to the all-22 angle so you can appreciate what Brock Purdy sees. He is on the far hash at the time of release right now. He's got Christian McCaffrey underneath. A throw to McCaffrey has a good shot of picking up the 1st down, but it's not a guarantee because you have defensive backs. You have members of the back 7 who are watching McCaffrey and can crash toward McCaffrey. The guarantee, if you can make the throw, is the player who is past the sticks, and he's at the bottom of your screen. This is why the people who say that Brock Purdy is a check down merchant are so laughably wrong, because Brock Purdy goes for the bigger play, even when the bigger play may be tougher to execute. Ayuk, bottom of the screen, working against the cornerback. Purdy's hands have already separated. He has decided to throw this football well before Brandon Ayuk is out of his break. So this is an anticipatory throw. It's a timing throw, and it's an exhibition of arm strength because Brock Purdy is on the far side hash mark, and he's crossing the field, crossing the near side hash mark to get to the boundary. Football fields are 53 1/3 yards wide. And Brock Purdy drops a dime to Brandon Ayuk with enough velocity that Darius Slay cannot get to it. We're going to watch this one more time from the end zone angle, and this should help you appreciate the arm strength required for this throw. Also, this is the 2nd or 3rd read. The first read was Brock Purdy looking this way. He's looking toward us, toward the camera. That's not there. So he flips toward, and as soon as he flips toward Ayuk, and he makes a quick release throw across two hashes for the first down. That is a lethal throw. That is an elite throw. And that sets the 49ers up to put the nail in the coffin of the Philadelphia Eagles funeral. They were all black for a reason because they thought that they were going to go there and kill the Eagles' chances, and the 49ers certainly did. This play should have given everybody an idea that the 49ers were going to be leaving town with a win. Another run left, 16 yards for Christian McCaffrey. Kyle Juszczyk, lead block. We already seen this play. Juszczyk, the lead block. Trent Williams on the linebacker, Morrow. This one goes for even more yardage. Christian McCaffrey almost sprung that one completely loose, but 16 yards is a first down and sets the 49ers up for what was the shot that definitely was heard around Philadelphia. That is Purdy to Deebo Samuel, who had a 0.1% chance of scoring when he caught that ball, and he has a 99 to 100% chance of scoring now. 48 yards, touchdown, silences Philadelphia. Again, Deebo Samuel deserves a wild amount of credit here. The acceleration is amazing, but look at the time of the throw. Look at Josh Sweat getting around Aaron Banks and Trent Williams. Sweat, I'm going to rewind this a tiny bit. Sweat beat Trent Williams. Watch 94 on the right side. He shoves Trent Williams out of the play. Brock Purdy has to release that under duress, and he gets the ball out in time. None of this yak happens right here if Brock Purdy is a tick too slow. So this is a team sport where the 49ers were able to execute on both ends of the throw. Perfect timing. Look at Morrow try to attack Deebo Samuel, and then look at Deebo accelerate. Here's the turbo button all the way to the end zone. So this was beautiful cohesion, beautiful teamwork from the 49ers. Everything from point A to point B, they did what they needed to do to turn around that slow start against Philadelphia. They took advantage of a defense that's now ranked number 21 in the NFL. There's every reason to believe when you watch some of this tape that if the 49ers and the Eagles play again, the 49ers can drop 40 once more on Philadelphia. The offensive line, although you see struggles from Colton McKivitz against Hassan Reddick, you'll see Trent Williams lose a rep. Brock Purdy is overcoming the deficiencies along the offensive line. There's a reason why Purdy has the highest efficiency in football, and on that one graph, he's at the top left because the 49ers offensive line is not delivering a great pass blocking grade. But I think that the 49ers O-line has also improved. And we saw that improvement over the course of this game against Philadelphia to where they were picking up some pressure. You saw a couple of those plays. And the more they improve, the better Purdy will be. And he's already damn good. He's already number one in the NFL. So he's a gamer. He's accurate. He's willing to push the ball downfield. I know a lot of people try to use that as a criticism of Brock Purdy, but it just is not true. The tape doesn't lie. That throw to Ayuk on the 3rd and 7 to set up the Deebo Samuel 48-yarder, that was him actively taking the more difficult, further throw, and he made it with ease. There are stereotypes about Brock Purdy. Some of them, revolve around his athleticism or lack thereof. There's not a lack of athleticism. You saw the running play where he bolted out toward the sideline. That's an elite burst. Some of them revolve around his supposed lack of arm strength. There's not a lack of arm strength. You saw it on the deep out to Brandon Ayuk. That's not a throw that most NFL quarterbacks will attempt. Most guys are going to go underneath. Have you watched any NFL games lately? Quarterbacks like to go underneath, especially to the sure thing. Brock Purdy's got a little bit of Brett Favre in him. He's not going to go to the sure thing. He's going to show off his arm a little bit. He's going to push that ball downfield, and the 49ers love that moxie, and obviously the efficiency agrees. The efficiency has been awesome from Brock Purdy. All right, let's take a look at some questions here about the 49ers offensive turnaround in Philadelphia. Are we at 60,000, or is Eric Gomes just trying to push us to 60,000 subs? I don't think we're at 60,000 yet, but why don't everybody hit that like button, and I'll answer a few questions. Go for broke. Purdy was 148.8 quarterback rating for the game. After the first quarter, he was 19 to 23 for 314 yards. That is indeed a perfect record. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 83% completion rate. Good splits there from Go for broke. The Philadelphia media and the Eagles fans are literally clinging to excuses if they're saying they're tired from 3 games in 13 days. The 49ers have the largest net rest disadvantage in all of football this year. This was the only game in which they had a couple days of an advantage. I think they had one against Arizona too earlier this year, but the 49ers net rest disadvantage is like minus 21 days, and they're doing just fine. So if by the end of this, the 49ers have a better record than the Eagles and get the number 1 seed, they will have played a tougher schedule as far as rest disadvantage than the Eagles. And guess what? The 49ers have a rest disadvantage this week against the Seahawks that makes up for the fact they had a rest advantage against Philadelphia. So theoretically, this stuff all evens out over the long term. And you're really reaching, I'm not talking about you, Miguel. I'm talking about people who are making excuses for the Eagles. You're really, really reaching when you're starting to talk about days of rest and stuff like that. Yeah, the 49ers were tired against the Bengals, and they wore it. They said, we're tired. We need our bye week. Let's get into our bye week. Let's freshen up. Let's go kick somebody's ass. I think Philadelphia should probably look at it that way. It's not like losing your quarterback for the entirety of the game, which is what happened to the 49ers against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. Thank you, Eric. What I think has happened with the secondary? Well, I think Ambry Thomas is playing top 5 football. He's literally the 5th highest graded cornerback in the game ever since entering over the bye week. And that's allowed Diamara Lenore to move inside. That's been a huge, huge upgrade and change of direction for the 49ers secondary, because you're only as good as your worst cornerback. And if Isaiah Oliver was too stiff and too tall to cover some of those shiftier slot receivers, they didn't help Steve Wilks with his coverage combinations. Steve Wilks also moved down to the field, and I think that allowed him to take what he's teaching, and he's intensifying what the 49ers are doing on the back end. It allowed him to communicate better with the 49ers leaders on defense and integrate it with what had already worked. So you had better personnel for Steve Wilks and better communication for the 49ers, and that's led to this team turning it around. The coverage is what really fueled that pass rushing exhibition of 46 pressures against the Philadelphia Eagles. So great question, and that's the answer to it. That's what the 49ers have been able to execute on the back end. Steve Wilks says, help the back level up with his knowledge. Absolutely. There were growing pains, especially when Isaiah Oliver was in, and especially when Steve Wilks was still trying to figure out the good combination of man and zone and how he wanted to balance everything. Well, he's figured out how to balance everything. And I really do think that, when you look at the flow of the season and you look at what the 49ers needed from a bye week perspective, they capitalized on that bye week to make sure that everything that Steve Wilks was trying to add to the defense meshed well with what had already made them the number 1 defense before. And just like anything in life, sometimes getting used to something new will take a little bit, and both sides have to learn. I think both sides learned, and now the 49ers are humming on all cylinders. The 49ers traveled across country 3 times to play Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, and Philly, all playoff teams. Yeah, that's a lot harder than anything Philly has to do in terms of travel, rest, and all that. So it's a lot of hogwash, these Philadelphia excuses. They got beaten really, really badly by the 49ers. They're probably not taking it all too well, given the fact there was so much hype and so much talk leading into this game. But leaving it, we know that the 49ers probably would have won the NFC Championship had Brock Purdy stayed healthy. And we also know that the 49ers are clearly the best team in the NFC, with only the Ravens right now being legitimate challengers as far as team-wide efficiency in the entire NFL. Tyreek Hill with his yards per route run metric is insane. Yeah, I think Tyreek against Christian McCaffrey, that's a hell of a race for Offensive Player of the Year. Hell of a race. I mean, Tyreek Hill's in the high 4s in yards per route run. Julio Jones was around 3.0, 3.1. Brandon Ayuk is at 3.0. He's number 2. But Tyreek Hill just blowing 4 yards per route run out of the water. So he's definitely a very strong contender for Offensive Player of the Year. 49ers are contenders for 2 big awards, MVP for Brock Purdy and Offensive Player of the Year for Christian McCaffrey. Why don't we just see how this regular season finishes up? Tyreek is fun to watch. He really is. So is Christian McCaffrey, though. Brock Purdy had his 4th game this season with a 140-plus passer rating. Since 1950, only Roger Staubach, Tom Brady twice, and Aaron Rodgers are in that club. I mean, it's really, really past time to give Brock Purdy his due. All right, 25 minutes, doing a little shorter show today because I just flew in from the East Coast yesterday. I'm still on Eastern time. I travel a lot with the 49ers. I'm back and forth. Got to get rested up for Seattle. Wanted to give you a nice little Brock Purdy film review. Take a look at what the leader for the MVP award is doing to help orchestrate this 49ers offense. He's taking great game plans from Kyle Shanahan. He's executing them with the players around him. There are some deficiencies in pass protection for the 49ers, but Purdy is covering them up. This is a masterclass from Brock Purdy, another game with a QB rating of over 140. And the 49ers have beaten the Eagles. They now move ahead to finish up that Philadelphia sandwich that is going to be against Seattle on Sunday. Everybody like the video, sub to the channel, hit that notification bell. We'll talk to you very soon.